What is up, tasties and tastettes? Welcome to our first ever wrestling preview. We are going to be previewing and predicting WrestleMania 40, WrestleMania XL, and we're not talking Trojans, baby.
Okay.
It's your boy, joined as always with my producer extraordinaire, Dante. How are you?
Chilling, chilling.
Dante. And before we start off, as always, if you could just drop a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Sharing is caring. Charity is welcome. Thank you. If you do that, we appreciate you so very much. We're going to give something a shot here. We have not, as I said, done this before. And full transparency, and I haven't told Dante this yet, but he does not watch any wrestling. I'm the wrestling fan. That is my jam. Dante will be giving predictions for all of these matches too.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, nice, right? And
Okay.
we're gonna see how this goes. We're gonna see how it goes. But if you like the content, yeah, like I said, drop a like down below. We'll keep doing these. Maybe not every event, but definitely like the big four at least. I will make a point. But I really want to start off with this because like WrestleMania is the granddaddy of them all, as they call it. It is especially hyped up this year. It was hyped up last year, but wrestling's at like a renaissance period right now. It's a peak time to be a wrestling fan, and we've got The Rock back in action. So if there was not a time for Dante to hop on and start predicting some shit, when would it be, right?
Big homie Dwayne.
So the way we're going to do this, Dante, is you're going to predict before I say a single thing about any match because I figure you don't know anything anyways. So giving you as little information and just seeing if you can get a vibe maybe off of like a picture, a name, like where your vibes at for people. And I want to know at the end of this if you can predict better than I can by knowing nothing.
So you're gonna be keeping track of the predictions?
Yeah, we'll have a video for history.
Okay. So you're gonna maintain a list or something?
I mean, I can do that after. Yeah, I'm not gonna write anything now. No, that would be more effort than I can put in, typing stuff on a phone to keep a note. All right, fine. You've forced my hand. I'll do it.
I'm just saying. Wow, that's too much effort. Gonna have to juggle a
But
few
yeah,
things here trying to record this in one take.
w- let's um let's get into it, shall we?
All right.
So we're going to start off with WrestleMania Night One. I think the one complication we're going to have in here, in full transparency, is the main event of match of Night Two is going to be heavily, affected by the results of the main event of Night One. So there, we're going to do a prediction for Night Two here as well, but that will be the hardest one because we don't exactly know what Night Two is going to look like for the main event. But we'll do our best. We're going to give it, an honest try, an honest go of it.
All right.
So bring up match one here for us, Dante. I believe it is the women's championship match between the man Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley.
She's a man.
She's the man.
All right.
If that didn't tell everybody, how much he knows.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the vibes we're getting here, Dante? Where are we leaning? What are we thinking?
Uh I can't take Rhea Ripley seriously. I think I'm leaning Becky Lynch. I
What
feel like
what is
Rhea
it that what is about her that you can't take seriously?
I don't know. It's just the whole hardcore thing. The fucking look in her eye doesn't even look mean. Uh, Becky Lynch looks more like a fuck 'em up type.
It's because she's the man, huh?
Ah, yes, she is the man. Amanda Bynes?
Yeah. No, no. Yeah. Channing Tatum. So you're leaning Becky Lynch here.
Yeah.
To get into my thoughts, I think what I have to look at in some ways is the card as a whole. And what I see a lot on night one, when I look down up and down the card and kind of was thinking about some of my predictions here, I see a real possibility for a lot of babyface teams to go over, or baby faces in general, not just teams, but to go over on night one.
What do you mean by baby
Uh,
faces? Like new in the game kind of thing?
No, so good guys. So in wrestling, Dante, the good guys are called baby faces and the bad guys are called heels.
Gotcha. Okay, I knew heels. I didn't know baby faces. Okay.
And when I take that into consideration, and the reality is like Becky Lynch has been calling out Rhea Ripley for this a little bit that she's not a true heel. Like she does a lot they tell her they tell us that she's a heel, so she's a heel, but like most of her characteristics and the way she acts on camera at this point are very baby face-esque. But with that being said, I think to even things out on the card, that she's pretty hot right now in terms of popularity. They both are very popular, and it's not a wrong decision to go with Becky Lynch here. But my prediction is that Rhea Ripley retains the title. She's done great work with it thus far. I still think there's meat left on that bone, especially seeing what could happen with Judgment Day throughout the night. That is her group that she's in, her faction, Dante.
Okay.
Um, I think there's going to be more fallout with Judgment Day throughout WrestleMania, the two nights of WrestleMania, and a lot will stem from night one. But I just see her retaining. Um, Becky has been on a little bit of a redemption path, like getting back towards the title, beating Nia Jax, all this stuff. But yeah, I think I'm going Rhea Ripley here.
Oh, all right.
So
We
moving
shall
on,
see.
next up, we've got one of the longest running, if not the longest running, IC champion in especially recent history, but maybe of all time. We have Gunther going up against the ultimate underdog, Sami Zayn.
Okay. Pull that one up.
We'll have you take a look at these guys. I wish I had have had you watch like maybe a highlight package for these guys a little bit beforehand.
Yeah, like I have
But
no idea. I'm just going off a picture.
oh, I know. But that's what the fun of it is. Like, it's like, are you smarter than a fifth grader? It's like you're the fifth grader when it comes to wrestling, and I'm the adult who's trying to beat you.
But the fifth graders were smarter in that show. The whole
All right,
point
so
was you
I'm
weren't.
so I'm the fifth grader, and you're the stupid adult. I didn't watch
Why,
the show.
why do I have to be a stupid adult now?
Well, you said they always lost to fifth graders. They're pretty fucking
But
dumb.
but you just got to be an adult. Now I'm a stupid adult. That's fucked up.
Yeah, well, that's always going to be the case.
um
All right, so what are we thinking here?
Gunther is how you pronounce it, not Gunther.
Good or Gunter?
Gunther. Uh I'm seeing here on the card that he is the champ.
He is
Um
reigning, defending, has been for man a year and a half. Maybe he's been a champ for a very long time now.
okay. Um
Little
uh,
background, I suppose. They're doing kind of a Rocky esque because the WrestleMania's in Philly this year. They're doing like a Rocky storyline right now with Sami Zayn, building him up because Gunther has been largely like an unstoppable force. Like he beats the fuck out of the people like wrestles. Like understand like wrestling, scripted, fake, whatever you might want to call it. He is about as real as they come. Like he hits you fucking hard. Like you hear it. You see the welts on people after he hits them. Um, and he's going up against a guy who is like historically one of the best baby faces they've had. Underdogs, I suppose, more than baby faces.
gotcha. I was already kind of leaning towards Sami Zayn, especially after you told me that Gunther had the belt for a year and a half. I just feel like it's about time to shake things up, especially since it's scripted. You know what I mean? Like, how long are
But
they going to let him
we
keep the
try to
belt? Right?
like we try like we got to use that word a little less probably.
I'm sorry.
It's offensive. I know it is scripted, but it's offensive.
All right, I'm sorry. I think it's better for the storyline if he gets
Thank
dethroned.
you. Thank you. Thank you. These are the types of terminology I need you to learn. So there is some interesting little side stuff here. I think that the WWE is going overseas to like Germany or something in the next month or two.
Mm,
And there is definitely some money to be made with the idea of Gunther still having the title when they do those trips, right? Like him being able to compete in front of more of because he is a European gentleman. I believe he is German. I might be wrong. Um, but like the idea of him getting to like hold that title in front of his people. Um, they also just the drawing ability to have him with the championship when they go there. The
Mm,
flip side is like you're on the right track. I do think he's held the title for a really long time. Generally, when you hold the title for a long time, you don't want to have them lose that title at any random like event, right? You want them to lose the title on the biggest stages to hand that baton off to the next person with this massive audience, this massive stage, and this massive moment. So I think that this is one of the harder ones to predict that I could see kind of going either direction. But I do think it's time that Gunther probably moves on to the main title focus. And especially where it seems like we're going to get a lot of new blood, hopefully, in some of the championship spots because they've been held by the same guys for a while and they've done great work with it. But it does seem like it's time to maybe freshen some of this stuff up. And Sami Zayn is definitely a solid person for them to put that title on. They've been doing the Rocky storyline with Chad Gable, and I think that there's some legs there.
okay.
But you know, the other part of the Rocky storyline is Rocky didn't win Rocky one. You know,
Hmm,
he lost in the first movie. So he does like Sami Zayn is the type of hero who doesn't necessarily need to win to stay over. This is tough. This is a really tough one. My heart says Sami Zayn though, so I'm going to side with you on this one.
okay.
Okay. Um, so next up we have a massive match, and I don't mean massive in terms of stakes, although there is a title on there's titles on the line. And there's a lot of ramifications for it. But I mean massive in the sense that there is a lot of people involved in it. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's a six-pack ladder match for the unified tag team championships. Unified means that we have two shows with Dante. We have Raw and SmackDown, and
Okay.
the same team, the Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor, hold both of those titles, both
Mm,
shows titles. And for a long time now, I think it's been thought that like they should probably break these titles up. And I believe there's something referenced on commentary that the match does not end until both sets of titles are taken down. So I think that this is the perfect time where we might see a world where the titles are split up by maybe two teams winning them here in the same match, which would be kind of interesting. But we have a lot of teams here. Okay.
6, right? Okay.
Six teams, a lot of bodies. It's going to be chaos. As I said earlier, to give you some more context, you know, I think that the Judgment Day, there's going to be quite a bit of ramifications for them throughout WrestleMania here, and this is the next up for their faction and where they're wrestling on this card. Damian Priest, the handsome Spanish gentleman with the two titles at the bottom of the frame there,
Uh,
he is also what is called the Money in the Bank holder. Dante, and that means that he can challenge for either any championship at any time that he chooses. So there is the world where they want to get the tag team titles off of it because he's largely done nothing with that briefcase and he's held it for a very long time now. He's like one of the longest people to ever hold it without cashing in to actually go for a championship. So it may be time that they move the tag team titles off of him so that he can make the move towards cashing in that money in the bank as well. But looking at all of these guys, I know that me telling you their names doesn't really make a difference.
eh,
Um, what who stands out to you? Who do you think's got this? Give us like some thoughts on some of the people in this. Like
I
as you look around and make your decision, who do you like just based on the appearance? Who looks like a fucking idiot to you?
I mean, like, what was it, Damian Priest?
Yeah,
He definitely looks like the meanest dude on here. Like the rest of these dudes just smiling, having a good time, and he's like, "I'm here to fuck shit up."
I agree. I agree.
Um, your boy on the right with the beard, with the DIY jacket.
Yeah, okay.
He seems like a real fighter. I don't know. He just has that look to him.
Yeah, he's a scrappy dude.
Yeah.
Tommaso Ciampa.
But I'm gonna tell you, based on a picture, it's hard to pick a winner. 'Cause they just
Well,
all look
you
like
have to.
goofy.
You have to pick one.
Uh,
You have to pick two, actually, maybe. I'll let
I
you
have to
pick
pick
one. It's
two.
fine. You can pick one. I'll pick two.
I think I'm gonna go with DIY and the New Day.
Okay, all right. I think you're on the right track here. So Triple H is the person who books wrestling now, Dante, and
What do you
I
mean by
think that
books
he
wrestling?
does. Like he's the person who produces the show,
Oh, like sets up the
basically.
matches and everything?
Yeah, yeah, and has
Okay.
probably the most influence on the storylines, things like that. He originally oversaw NXT, which is the developmental brand that feeds to Raw and SmackDown. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, DIY, were two of his biggest stars that he had on there, and they have not had a major moment yet in in WWE, like in on the main roster. So Raw and SmackDown, they've had
Yeah.
like some decent matches, and it seems like there's been more of a push to establish them. Also, the team above them, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. The New Catch Republic, I believe, is their tag team title, their tag team name.
Yep. Yep.
They are another they're another group that was very popular in NXT. So I think there's a good chance that one of the two of those teams win a set of the tag team championships. DIY may be making more sense for the moment, but my only hesitancy there is the team in the top left of the Miz and R Truth. I think are another really interesting one because the art like R Truth is arguably the most popular person in this match. He's had a great year, super popular, super over.
Which one
I
is our
don't
truth,
love
left or right?
uh the Miz is the one with the the like bandana headband on,
Okay.
with the sunglasses, and R Truth is the one next to him.
I was gonna say it looks kind of douchey. Is he really that likable?
So R Truth is very likable. The Miz historically not very likable.
I could see that.
Um yeah, he's a better heel than he is a baby face, but he's fine. He's like earned the respect of the fans through longevity. Um
Okay.
the thing about that is I don't know if we need a like a comedy act, and they're more of a comedy act.
Yeah.
But like I said before, WrestleMania, like big events, things like this, is usually where you give flowers to the people who've done really good work throughout the year. And our truth has been on fire for more than half the year. He's kind of cooled off a little bit as of late, but like he's been pretty popular. So in the idea that they could split the tag team championships up, what I could see them doing is the New Catch Republic is a SmackDown team. So I could see them winning the SmackDown championships, and then I
Okay.
could see the Miz and our Truth winning the Raw championships. I think that's what I foresee happening.
I see. Okay, because they're playing for both.
Yeah, well, and that's assuming that they split them up. If they don't split them up, I think that actually makes it much harder to predict. And if they don't split them up, I think if you have one sole winner, then I do actually agree that I think DIY is probably the more popular choice. I just don't think that you'd have two Raw teams winning if they were going to have two sets of winners come from this. So that's where I think that skews me towards a SmackDown team being New Catch Republic winning it. If there is a world though where one team is going to win, it would be DIY to me.
Okay. All right. So I made a good pick. Look at that.
Yeah, you're doing pretty well.
And I'm just going off of
Uh,
pictures.
so next up, we have sibling rivalry. We have a set of twins
All right.
wrestling each other. Jimmy and Jay Uso. Yeet versus no yeet.
Uh,
Which twins mean mug is better?
I mean, Jimmy,
Which one's Jimmy?
the one on the right.
All right, I was just making sure you noticed the names above them, and if I could just like trick you into being like, I don't know, they're twins.
No, no, no. They're identified.
So they were a tag team for a very, very long time.
Why are they fighting
Um,
each other?
one of the best tag teams of all time in WWE, at least. And in the past year, Jay has gotten over as like a huge single star. He's called main event Jay Uso now. Like he's gotten over. The crowd loves him, and he broke away from the bloodline with Roman Reigns, his like their faction with the
Okay.
whole um, bloodline family there, and Jimmy had broken away with him at a point, but at some point, Jimmy turns on Jay in his biggest moment when he's facing Roman Reigns for a championship. And that was about 6, 7 months ago. You didn't really like they've kept them on separate shows So they had no interactions with each other until the Royal Rumble, where they were in the Royal Rumble together, and then slowly over the past couple months, they built to um, this chance for them to feud at WrestleMania, brother versus brother. Um, I'd say it's about the backstory for you.
Okay, interesting.
Who you got?
Think I'm still leaning Jimmy. I really
I
got
think.
nothing to go on here,
No,
but
I
I'm
know,
I'm
I
leaning
know.
Jimmy.
And the good thing for me is like I think this is the one you're probably most wrong on right now.
Okay.
The other ones could go either way. This one feels like they have done nothing really with Jimmy for a majority of this past year. His character's been mostly directionless, whereas like Jey Uso has carved out a pretty solid niche for himself as a solo act at this point. Like he has the gimmick, he has the crowd behind him. I just don't see where the value they would find in having Jimmy go over unless they had some idea to invest in him as some type of a solo star. But I just don't see that happening at this point. Um,
They're the same
so I
person.
no, nope, not at all. So I think it just makes sense with the way they've been booked and the potential that Jey Uso has showed that he should probably be getting the win here. So I'm going to go with Jey Uso.
All right.
Okay. Then we have a six-woman tag match. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi against Damage Control, which is Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kyrie Sane.
Okay. It's a whole lot of face paint.
Yep. The two girls on the right with the face paint are called the Kabuki Warriors. They are the
Okay.
current SmackDown Tag Team Championship
I see the
champions.
belt.
They are part of a faction that has been, mostly dominant throughout the year. They were more popular, I'd say, towards the beginning of the year. They've been a little flat recently. The biggest unknown in this match is Jade Cargill, who's the girl in the top left.
Okay.
She signed about 7 or 8 months ago from the biggest rival competition to the WWE, AEW, and she is now. She's only wrestled once. She wrestled in the Royal Rumble. They've
Huh.
kept her off TV. She's a huge attraction. It's going to be super interesting how to see how she shows up here. And she didn't get added into this match until about a week ago. So with that being said, looking at this group of fine ladies, who do you think takes it?
And am I going left versus right?
Sure.
Is that basically what this is?
I mean,
Or
it's
is there like
damage
an individual
control.
winner?
No, it's three. It's six-man tags or six-woman tag. So it's the 3v3.
Okay. I don't know. I think
Give
I'm
us
leaning
where's your
damage
brain?
control.
Where's your brain going? Why are we leaning damage control?
Well, for one, they hold the belt, right? Two, they look like someone I would take more seriously versus the girls on the left. They just look like they're here for a fashion show.
That's fucked up. That's
Again, I'm
fucked up.
going off a picture, dude.
Yeah, so I'm going the other way on this one. I think, like I said, Jade Cargill is an attraction, and they're not going to want her losing in her first like official match, especially on this kind of stage. You say fashion show. To be honest, that's obviously a lack of you not watching, and that's not your fault. That's me putting you in these positions. Um,
It's a setup.
Bianca Belair is like as legit as they come. Naomi is very good too, but Bianca especially is very legit. So what I foresee happening here is a solid like 10-minute match probably. I don't know how much the crowd will be into this one. But what is going to probably happen is you'll have Jade Cargill take the final tag, like, and just mow through people with some crazy power spots and get her big stamp of approval on like the biggest stage possible to let you know that for the next year she's gonna be one of the major focuses in this roster, like for the women going forward. So I see Bianca, Naomi, and Jade Cargill winning with Jade Cargill getting the pin. Probably, like Dakota Kai's probably the most like expendable. Um, but you never know what you want to set up as far as like the
Hmm.
those tag team titles aren't being defended here. So there's a world where you want to set up who the next challenger is, and maybe like Bianca and Naomi are going after them next. But I have to imagine Jade Cargill's getting the pin here, and she's going to win the match for them.
I mean, maybe she does some good stuff, and then they let you with a big letdown, and Damage Control takes it.
Maybe I
Well,
I don't think so.
all right. Next up,
Okay,
we
and so
got
we have the Latino World Order. Um, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee going up against Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio. So Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio reigniting their feud that has spanned over the past like year and a half, father versus son. With Santos Escobar, who had turned on Rey Mysterio several months back and took credit for an injury that Rey had sustained that had taken him out, so he had to get surgery. And Dragon Lee's just the best friend who's shown up for the boys.
he's just like, I'm here so we can do this.
So Dominic Mysterio is another aspect of the Judgment Day. He is part of Judgment Day, and this is the last part of them like competing officially on this card. And there's some drama here where he like didn't ask the group of Judgment Day if he could go and be in this match, and he's been kind of out communicating with some of the other like Latin stars on in the WWE, and it seems like he could be in the process of forming his own stable, maybe going off and
Mm.
doing his own thing at this point. So like this could be some more of the seeds of dissension between that group. Maybe not, but another guy who is probably the most hated individual in the WWE, the crowd heat he gets, the booze, is second
Talking
to
about
none.
Dominic.
Maybe in wrestling, yeah, it's second to none. Like maybe in wrestling in general, he's hated.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a fun match. It's going to be a fast paced match. Um, Looking at this, who do you got? The masked men versus the non-masked. And
Hey,
you know who
bro.
Rey
Like,
Mysterio is, of
yeah, I was gonna
course.
say like Rey Mysterio, the first name in all of this that I've recognized. Um, I kind of got to side with him. I don't really know like Dominic Mysterio at all. I don't know what his pops is about, but I'm gonna side with Ray. Man, it's
So we're
getting
going Ray
old.
and Dragon Lee. This is uh this is actually funny enough, maybe one of the tougher ones for me to gauge. Because it feels like Ray won last year, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It feels like you maybe want the bad guys to go over here, but at the same time, it's WrestleMania, and having Rey Mysterio win just seems like it makes a lot of sense.
How long ago did he come back from his injury?
Recently, like within the past month or so.
Mm. And I feel good about him winning it.
So you have two guys making their WrestleMania debut in Dragon Lee and Santos Escobar. And I think it's interesting that like I think that it makes more sense for Santos to like be winning on this stage than it does Dragon Lee, which is the way they've been booked on TV. But it's like Rey Mysterio is really that trump card of like he's the vet. He only has so many of these left. But does he want to do the favors and like have his team lose to his son to like keep them on the come up? This is the hardest one that I've had to pick so far. Um, Man, I'm gonna like everything in me. The smart. If I was betting, right? If I was betting money, everything in me is telling me that Rey Mysterio is gonna win this match.
No.
But I'm not betting, so I'm taking the other side. I'm going with Santos Escobar and Dominic getting the win here.
Now, how much of that is that? Is that like the win you expect, or is that the win you want to see?
Uh I don't know if it's the one I'm actually okay with either outcome here. I think longevity's sake, there's more to gain from those two winning. Dominic doesn't win very often, even though he's like super over and hated. So I think that giving him something to brag about uh, is only going to help him keep his heat. And I think like Santos is like your Latin star for the future. Like I said, Rey Mysterio only has so many years left in him. And the reality is, if he loses, it doesn't really hurt his credibility at this point. Like
Yeah.
he's one of those guys that can just take losses. So I think from a booking standpoint is more where I'm leaning, where I'm like, hey, I think it makes more sense for the bad guys to win here. The only hesitancy I truly have is how I think the next match, the main event on night one, is going to go. And if this is the way that the card is actually laid out, do I think like do you have a I don't want to really give away what I think for the main event yet, but it's just
Yeah.
I think that like the way that they lay out winners and losers, you have to have a certain flow to the card. And I wonder if you'd want to see Rey Mysterio win here. But my pick is definitely Dominic and Santos. Uh, so let's get into the main event. And as we said, like this, or I said at the right off the start, the events from this match are going to have a lot of carryover into night two because the stipulation on this match is the winner of the match and another guy you're familiar with, The Rock, and Roman Reigns. The winner
Yeah.
of the match between them and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins affects the main event the next night. In that, if The Rock and Roman Reigns win, the main event on night two between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns for the championship will be a bloodline rules match, which essentially just means anything goes. Like they can do whatever the fuck they want. There'll be a lot of a lot of people getting involved. It'll be a lot of fuck shit, basically. If
Mm.
Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins win, it's a straight up match. Nobody else gets involved. And it's like the big thing was last year, Cody Rhodes was this close to winning, like this close. And there was a ton of interference, and that affected the outcome of the match. It was too much for him to overcome essentially, and that led to him losing. So for him being able to wrestle Roman straight up would it like you in his head would leave him to be like I'd win that, you know. Whereas if they have the ability to have a ton of people to get involved, that could really screw up him winning the championship and quote unquote finishing the story is what they would say. So this story has been building up for the better part of 2 years now. Last year, there was a ton of disappointment that came out of WrestleMania 39 because everybody had anticipated Roman Reigns losing and Cody Rhodes being the champion. You know, and when he didn't win, it shocked everybody, and everybody was like, "What are they doing?" You know, like uh, why wouldn't you put the belt on Cody here? Like there wasn't a better time. He was super over. The fans were into him, and everybody really questioned it. But it's led to another year, and now it's in a spot where they've literally got guys that are main eventing 2 nights in a row of WrestleMania, which has never happened in the short time that they've been doing 2 nights of WrestleMania, like the fact that they're getting this much juice out of it, the fact that this was originally supposed to be he was giving up his spot for The Rock to face Roman Reigns, and the fans came to Cody Rhodes' defense and were like, "Fuck that! Like we want Cody to finish the story. We don't want The Rock to steal his spot. Like we've invested 2 years worth of our time into Cody Rhodes getting a chance at this title again." You're not going to just give us The Rock and expect us to be like, that's okay. And the fans basically hijacked the storyline. And
I
it
was gonna
kind
say,
of
how
got
did the
us to,
storyline get to that part?
because, yeah, so like Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble, which basically entitles you to choose who you're going to face at WrestleMania. There had been rumors at the time that The Rock was interested and had been leveraging, because The Rock is now on the board for the WWE. So he had been leveraging, or for TKO, not specifically the WWE, but he had been leveraging his power to maybe be at the WrestleMania main event against Roman Reigns. There's been rumors for a long time that that's a match that they've wanted to do, both The Rock and Roman. And so, a week after WrestleMania or after the Royal Rumble, once Cody announced that he's going after Roman, all of a sudden The Rock he like steps out of the way and says The Rock can have the match. And
Mm.
it basically led to millions and millions of people, no pun on The Rock's like catchphrases intended, disliking the videos and being like, no, like this is not what we want. Like we are happy with the story we've gotten. We don't want The Rock to come in and screw up that story because then like what are you gonna do? Push Cody off another year? Like we're not doing this. And over the next week or so, we had this huge buzz of like the "We Want Cody" movement. It was a huge hashtag, trended worldwide for like 72 hours as like the number one trend in the world. And it led to Cody taking back the match and being like, "No, this is mine." But The Rock took it personally
Oh wow.
and and has now turned into like there's been jabs at each other's family, and it's led to the alignment of The Rock instead of going up against Roman Reigns, being like, "You've come in our family now, and you stole this from me. Like I'm going to make you pay." And you've been getting, in all honesty, this has been The Rock is at an all-time high right now from a wrestling perspective, we talk on the podcast quite often about The Rock as an actor,
Yeah.
not in the wrestling sense. And I've talked about him being stale from an acting standpoint. He's not stale in a wrestling standpoint. He has been at an all-time, like his performances week in and week out on WWE television right now, also on his social media have been peak. He's in his bag, so to speak. He's dropping f bombs every week on TV. He's cutting like these harsh, like he sounds so much different than everybody else who talks, to the point where he's almost overshadowing Roman, I would say.
Mm.
And Roman has been an established champion for quite some time now, but The Rock's almost overshadowing him. But that's another interesting part of this, because we can't forget that originally The Rock was going after Roman. So does he still have his own ulterior motives that are built in to some of this? And he has, for the most part, like he at one point did acknowledge Roman Reigns as the champion and like acknowledged his greatness, but outside of that, has largely stolen the shine from Roman. So is there going to be any type of clash there? There's also some ideas with
What
like
kind of
Seth
clash
Rollins
though?
and
Like you think he turns on him?
I think at some point during the weekend that's a real possibility. Yeah, yeah, I think that that is definitely a real possibility. And I don't know if it's in this match. Maybe it's on night two, but I think that there's a real possibility that we get something like that.
Because if he's really like amping it up like that, then he's probably not going to throw the match to fuck Roman, is he?
No, 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 no. I think you're gonna get a pretty straight up, like, in terms of the two teams going against each other for night one. I think if there was a turn, it'd be more likely on night two. There have been like speculation that Seth Rollins is gonna turn on Cody Rhodes
Oh,
at some point, because they have been rivals for a really long time and they've turned friends recently over the past like 6 months or so. Or like at least like friends might be a stretch in terms of
so these are
storyline, but
two
there's
rocky
a
pairings as a team.
Yeah, like to a point. I think that like for like from an outside perspective, if you knew nothing, you'd think that Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are like fine. They're in a good spot with each other. But there's been little things like looks that Seth's given and stuff that people are like, oh, there might be something there.
Mm,
And they don't generally do that stuff on accident, right?
yeah,
Um, I don't know that it makes a lot of sense to me for Seth to be turning on Cody, though, because Seth is still wrestling on night two as well, and
yeah,
he's coming in as a baby face against the one of the best heels that they have going in Drew McIntyre. So him turning on night one doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because you don't want him going into night two as a heel against another heel. I just don't
gotcha.
see the benefit in that, so to speak. So again, I think that these two teams, I think you'll make it through night one without anybody turning on the other. Um, what do you like? So based on all that, I gave you a lot of context for this one. What direction do you think they're going?
Ultimately, for the storyline, I think it makes sense that Cody and Seth win this one so that Roman Reigns and Cody can fight straight up.
See, I'm on the other side of the equation. I for a long time I kind of agreed that I wanted to see a straight up match between Cody and Roman. However, I think for the storyline, I think Cody losing night one sets up some interesting things for night two. I also think there's a lot of people that the bloodline have affected and have screwed over. And the idea of like they've had a lot of meme type stuff of like the Avengers assembling for like of all of the people who the bloodline have affected, and that Cody Rhodes is kind of enlisted, because going back to the Jimmy and Jay Uso stuff, one thing
Yeah,
I didn't really do a good job of like bringing up earlier. So Jimmy Uso turns on Jay Uso, and Jay Uso leaves SmackDown. He's like, I don't want to be on the show anymore. I'm quitting. And Cody Rhodes pulled some strings and brings him over to Raw. And he, like, they had been, Cody Rhodes is instrumental in some of the downfall of Cody Rhodes winning the title a year ago. And he forgives him and brings him into
wait,
the fold as a good guy.
I think you flip names.
Jay, yeah, Jay Uso was instrumental. Sorry, and in Cody Rhodes losing last year. And throughout this year, he's forgiven him and brought him over to Raw and given him a new start. And like they've developed a pretty close friendship to the point where they even won the tag team championships for a short period of time together. So there's people like Jay Uso, Seth Rollins. There's also rumors of like a John Cena showing up at WrestleMania. There's rumors of even a Stone Cold Steve Austin showing up at WrestleMania, and there's a lot of history between The Rock and Stone Cold, obviously.
Yeah. Oh,
So there's all these names that are tied to this story that can potentially be involved in where this match goes. To where if you have no rules involved and anything can happen on night two, like I think that all of that stuff adds to the like who's going to win this. And I think at the end of the day, they don't want to telegraph who's going to win on night two. And I think if you have a straight up match, it kind of telegraphs a little bit that there's a good chance that Cody wins, as opposed to a match where a ton of people can get involved, sets up for more near falls, sets up for more chaos as far as who might win this match. And it also lines up more with the idea that The Rock could turn on night two.
oh,
I think that some of that stuff kind of plays out. So to me, I think also Cody losing on night one, I think throws a little bit more on like the what could he lose night two as well? You know, so I'm leaning towards The Rock and Roman winning night one. I also think The Rock probably just wants to win.
yeah. Fair.
You know, so yeah, I'm gonna go with The Rock and Cody. I mean, The Rock and Roman winning night one and setting up for night two a bloodline rules match. Um, let's move into night two though. Okay,
All right.
so we kick things off with rightfully so Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
So Drew McIntyre, he won the championship years ago, but it was during COVID where you didn't have fans in the crowd. So he didn't have like the moment he was supposed to have, and he's become bitter because the bloodline screwed him out of a championship when he was in front of his home crowd in Glasgow. And he's used all of that as kind of a heel turn to be like bitter towards the fans and everything, for he saying he's been screwed over multiple times over at this point. The interesting part here is him and Seth have wrestled several times, and Seth has come out on top for the championship multiple times over now. But Drew has been able to make excuses for a lot of why that's happened, and he's been very like he's one of the better heels in the fact that his logic for why he's telling you he's been wrong is pretty vindicated. Like it's justified in the reasons why he feels the way he is, or justified just enough that the logic makes sense for why he feels the way he is, but the crowd has hated him for it, which is huge,
Mm,
right? Like you want to be a good bad guy. He's done a great job of it. Seth Rollins has been the workhorse champion. He is a guy who's kind of established a new championship over the past year. But I think the one thing you would say going into this WrestleMania, and based on what we just talked about with the previous matches, he's been somewhat distracted because he's heavily involved in a whole other feud that's not defending his title. And
mm.
like that type of stuff may play into the outcome of this match. Who you
Okay.
got?
I mean, again, got nothing to go on, but based on what you said, I'd like to see Drew win.
Yeah, that's your guy. You like him?
Hey, I like the villain.
He says, "Kick your arse."
Like him a little less now, but
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I think Drew's winning this. I
yeah.
think it's his time to win the title. I think if anything was going to lead to like maybe a double turn later on in the night on night two of like that idea of Seth turning on Cody, it's like he loses his title and that sends him over the edge, and maybe The Rock turns on Roman. And like that's part of the chaos that you get from that final match on night two is like two people that were teamed up with the other people on night one turning on them on night two, you know? Because maybe Seth is like, I spent all that time focused in like helping Cody and not enough time focused on the actual opposition, which was defending my own title. And it led to me losing. And he's bitter about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both got Drew. Next up is the women's championship. Bailey versus Io Sky. Bailey won the Royal Rumble. This is her first ever singles match at WrestleMania. She's been with the company for a long time. She's been one of the the workhorses, like one of the faces of the women's division for some time now, but has not gotten a solo opportunity. She established the group Damage Control, and then they all turned on her after she won the Royal Rumble.
Uh,
And this is kind of a build up to that of like the girl that she brought into the fold, Io Sky, winning the title and then turning on her. And this is her coming back to try and get the championship.
shit. Sounds like a good comeback story.
Hmm.
Um, it sounds like you're already leaning Bailey, huh?
Well, if you've listened to what I've said throughout this, WrestleMania is a lot about like payoffs and giving people their due for what they've done, either historically or it could be throughout the year, like, and it's payoffs for that stuff. And I think that Bailey is due her moment at WrestleMania. Um, I'd said initially that I look at night one and I saw a lot of bad guys that I thought potentially were going over. And I look at night two and I see an opportunity for a lot more of good guys to win,
Okay.
you know? So I look up and down and I say, like, I think that, or maybe I had it flip flop that I had night one with more good guys. I don't remember. We've talked a lot already. But yeah, I think that I am leaning Bailey. Yeah.
Okay.
You haven't given your prediction.
Because I think I like Io.
Why?
I like the bad guys.
Yeah, that's why. Do you like that their hair is very similar?
I was thinking that too. Like they're almost the exact same shade.
Yeah. It's just like one's got straight hair and the other's got some like flow to it. But
Well,
like, yeah, they are I wonder why they did that. That's like very weird.
they even
But
almost
yeah,
have like the same color like eye makeup.
mhm. I mean, they were together for a long time. So yeah, Io Sky winning you got her retaining her title. I am on the opposite end of that one. Okay, so next up we got LA Knight versus AJ Styles. Not much to say on this one. A little bit of a grudge match. They've been feuding for a while. I'd say it's mostly stale. But LA Knight's super over. The fans really like him, and AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers ever. So I think that it's just one of those things where you want to get guys onto the card who have earned it, and like there are a couple guys who have earned their spot on a WrestleMania.
Um, I'd lean AJ Styles on this one.
I think I am also leaning AJ Styles on this one.
Yeah.
I think that it is a similar sense to what I was saying with Rey Mysterio, like not as popular historically as Rey Mysterio, but like AJ Styles has been around forever, and like he can take a loss and it's not going to kill him. But I think at the same time, he's only got so much time left where like, and he hasn't been as strong in the past year or two as he was for a while. And I think him getting a win here, you want fresh guys to be able to be in the spot where they can compete for championships, especially if you're going to make moves as far as like champions, like new champions being crowned.
Yeah.
So I think a guy like that, like LA Knight, will be able to get over with the way he talks, and you do worry about cooling him off if he never wins big matches. So that is a concern here. But I do feel like AJ should be winning this match, so I'm going with AJ as well.
All right.
Okay, and next up, this is a guy that you're familiar with, Logan Paul,
Logan.
right?
Yeah.
So we got a triple threat. We got Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton going at it for the Intercontinental or the United States Championship. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Logan Paul has been one of the biggest surprises in wrestling for the past couple of years.
I didn't even
He's
know he was
turned
in
out,
wrestling.
yeah, he's turned out to be a very, very good wrestler. And he's also just a natural talker, and he's very hateable in real life, and it's translated well to professional wrestling. So he's a great character. He screwed Orton over at Elimination Chamber and led to him losing the match, and that spurred this. And he's been feuding with Kevin Owens for quite some time now. So he's kind of caught in the middle of two guys that are cordial with each other but hate him. This Friday, so we're recording this on Thursday. I would say Friday night SmackDown. You're probably going to see a little bit of heat build between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. So it's not just a straight up handicap match, essentially. Like you want a little bit of heat between those guys. But overall, I think at the end of the day, like this is about one of them getting after Logan Paul. As far as my breakdown of it, and I've gotten away from just making you predict blindly. I think you should be thanking me for this. Um, I think the downfall of this match for the good guys is that they both hate Logan Paul so much.
Yeah.
And they're both going to want to get to him and beat him. And I think that that's going to lead to them probably fighting each other quite a bit.
Oh, so this is like a free for all kind of thing.
Yeah, anybody can pin anybody, and whoever gets the pin wins the championship.
So they could team and pin out Logan Paul and then duke it out
No,
after.
no, no. It's first fall. First fall wins.
What do you mean first fall?
So if Kevin Owens pins Logan Paul, he's the champion. If Logan Paul pins Randy Orton, he retains his championship. It's not like elimination.
So what happens if they both pin Logan Paul?
That wouldn't happen because they're not going to both share a championship.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's where I think you build to this thing where they might even there is a world where they come in friendly, but the first time one of them tries to pin Logan Paul
They're
after
gonna
they
be
beat up
against
on
each
him,
other because they don't want to
they're
let him get it. Yeah.
win the champ. They want to leave with the championship. Yeah.
Sounds like
So what
this
do
is
you think?
very heavily weighted against Logan Paul.
Yeah. I mean, the odds are not in his favor for sure. He doesn't even have to be involved in the pin to lose his championship.
Yeah, like basically it comes down to how does he get them to go at each other.
Hmm. So what do you think?
I think Randy Orton takes it.
I think that's a good guess. It's definitely not a wrong direction for them to take to have him win it. I will say, when I was staring at the graphic before we started recording, that my I lean towards Logan Paul retaining here, and I think you were on the right track. I think the thing about his character is he's an instigator, and I think him being able to get animosity between Kevin Owens and Randy Orton will give him a chance to steal a victory here.
The thing I couldn't figure out is how, because it just
I
sounds
mean,
like
you
they're
guess,
so set at being against him that I think
but eventually they're going to have to beat each other up, right?
yeah,
Like eventually that's going to happen, and all it takes is for Logan to be able to sneak in and pin one of them,
fair.
and he could avoid some stuff like letting them fight a little bit. Like there's just ways that I think
Because they'll be
he can
fighting
get
over
around
getting
this.
at him
Yeah, and I think he's the type of character that you can do kind of a sneaky snake finish, and
and
I,
still
I
have it
just
play
think
out
it.
good. Yeah,
Yeah, like he's just still gonna be like he'll take it as if he beat these two like guys. Like he beat like a legend in Randy Orton, even though he stole the win, kind of deal, you know?
and that just
Um
adds to his like heel storyline.
yeah, his bad guy persona, right? Like his hateability. And I think that him winning is the probably the best story outcome when I look at where this goes. So Logan Paul winning, probably with Kevin Owens taking the pin is what I assume would happen. I do think like Randy Orton makes a lot of sense. So there is a chance that you're right on that. Because Randy Orton is loved, like beloved by the fans and everything, and him winning at WrestleMania is certainly not a bad thing. But I just think that Logan Paul's done such great work, and him having the title is a good thing for the WWE. In addition to that, because of his viewability outside of wrestling. I
Okay.
mean, like Prime is going to be on the WrestleMania canvas, like on the ring this year. I'm pretty sure the first time that they've sold like space, like sponsorship space on like the actual ring
Oh
mat,
shit.
and it's Logan Paul's company. You know.
Okay.
All right, a couple matches left. This is mostly a throwaway match. We got the Pride featuring Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford against the Final Testament, which is Karrion Cross, Akam, and Razar. A match that nobody really cares about. It's just they. I think it's because they feel like they need to have give Bobby Lashley a match on the card. They've built this for a while now. I don't find this to be all that exciting. It's a street fight though, so there could be some interesting action in it. Uh, but largely a nothing match, kind of a filler to me. Maybe like a 8 to 10 minute match, something quick with a lot of like big, like maybe some big like moments, you know. But like the one thing I will say is like people haven't really given a shit about this at all. The street fight element of it though, it is a little weird having the street fight and then also having a bloodline rules match like booked all in the
What
same
are the
like
street
area.
fight rules?
Essentially, weapons are legal, like anything like that.
Oh, so they can do
Which
like
I
tables
think
out of chairs.
yeah, like, so I think that that stuff does lend itself to some big moments in this match, and it could leave the if they time it right and they keep it to 8 to 10 minutes and it's just action-packed, huge spots, I think the fans will mostly be okay with it. So, who do you got? Which side, left or right?
Uh, Going with the right.
I am not. I'm going with the left.
Yeah.
I think Bobby Lashley is the most popular guy in this match. Um I think that there's more money to be made with the group on the left-hand side as well. So yeah, I'm going with Bobby Lashley and the Pride.
All right.
And last but not least, we get into the main event that we've already talked quite a bit. So we don't need to like go over too much here, but we've got the Cody Rhodes going to finish the story, trying to end the record-setting reign of Roman Reigns, the longest running champion of all time. Um, there's a lot at stake here, you know, like Roman Reigns doesn't wrestle very often. It's become a big critique of the character at this point that he only wrestles every few months and he only appears on TV like, you know, once a month or if that at this point. So you have one of your most like your biggest stars but also your champion who's not on TV very often. And the idea of having a guy in Cody Rhodes who's going to be there every single week with the title and hold that championship like that again, I think has a lot of appeal. But at the same time, you've invested so much into this Roman Reigns character to where that's where there's like this seed of doubt. You also had him win last year when almost nobody expected him to. That I think that's what makes this so intriguing is like, would they do it again? Like, would they really have
Right.
Roman win again? Because there is still that Rock match down the line that do they want The Rock and him to have the title involved with it or not? You know, I've been a person who personally is like The Rock versus Roman Reigns does not need a title attached to it to be the most popular match on a card. So I don't necessarily
Yeah.
see that that has to be the case, but I do understand like it's not a bad decision to have Roman. Like their business is better than it's ever been. We're talking making more money than they did in the Attitude Era. Like their business is peaking. They're selling out. They're on like a 15-week of TV run of selling out every single show. Like they're making money hand over fist at this point, and a lot of it is built upon what Roman Reigns has done over the past 2.5, 3 years. So there's still enough there that like the seeds of doubt. And I told you about like all the run in potential, and I think that this is going to be a messy match if it plays out as Bloodline rules, and it's going to be a lot of twists and turns. It's probably going to go an hour with all of these different things happening. Uh, what are your thoughts? Do you like? I know you don't really know Cody Rhodes that well. Do you think they keep the belt on Roman Reigns?
I think at least being updated on the history of it, like Cody needs to take this. He's kind of been shafted a few times, and it's one
The
of those
crazy
things where I
thing is,
think,
Dante, we all said this a year ago. Like any wrestling fan a year ago was like Cody needs to take this, you know?
well,
And
well,
it didn't
then
play
in
out
that
that way.
case, you waited a year for this.
Yeah, you've like I said earlier, you waited essentially 2 years. But I agree. I think that this is the time. I thought last year was the time and they didn't do it. I think that it's gonna be heartbreaking like there was devastation amongst wrestling fans like outward like people have largely loved Triple H's booking since he took over booking Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah,
And last year was the only time that I think people truly questioned like what the fuck are we doing, like why would you not have him win, like we built up all this time. And I think there was like a trust the vision aspect of it, and we've gotten here now, so like the vision played out and like I think it worked out in their favor.
I just don't think
um
it plays out if they try to pull that again, though.
Yeah, I
For
think you
like
can't
everything
do
they've
that.
built up for Cody Rhodes, like he needs the win.
And yeah, it's the tough thing I will say about this. The one thing I will mention, Triple H, the character, right? When he was a wrestler,
Yeah.
there was a I grew up on this era of professional wrestling, the early 2000s, when like Triple H was like the political guy who was like aligned with the who's married to the boss's daughter, and he was winning all these matches that it was like he really it's his time to lose, and he would win. And I could see a world where he's in love with that idea of the heat that you get from constantly like having the bad guy just fuck over the good guy. And I that worries me just like a hint that like is he booking Roman Reigns a little bit like he was booked in his peak runs.
Mm.
But I think you're right. Like I think that this one you've got to give up to the fans and you've got to have Cody Rhodes go over and you've got to have him win.
Like definitely give us a good match, but I think Cody's got to come out on top.
Yeah, and it kind of started a new era, and a new face of wrestling, and like then you can have Roman off TV for a bit until it comes back with him and The Rock, or like maybe you do a rematch between him and Cody in 6 months at SummerSlam or something. Um, but yeah, I think that Cody's got to take this one. And I think we're in for like two really, really good nights of wrestling. Like this is one of the most excited I've been for a WrestleMania. I'm still a little kid at heart though, and I get up for this shit every single year. Like I've been literally like waiting for this weekend for like a month now. Like I anxiously like let's get to fucking WrestleMania. Like let's get there.
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked about this one. Like all of the matches, like I think top to bottom on both cards, there's not really much that you can say isn't interesting and you're not like looking forward to as a wrestling fan. So let's hope it all just lives up to the hype. Let us know out there what you think about the our predictions. Are we right, wrong? Did Dante do better with me than me with knowing absolutely nothing? Did I miss any big storylines? Would be the other part of it. What is your fantasy booking for this stuff going through it, and what do you see coming out of WrestleMania if all of this plays out for the Raw after? Are we going to get any big debuts, anything like that? Let us know also if you want to see us do more wrestling content. I've been itching to do more of this stuff and just trying to find a way to integrate it more into the channel. Um, so yeah, let me know if you want to see us hop on here. I do stream WWE 2K24, so keep an eye out for that as well. If you could though, if you haven't yet, like, comment, share, subscribe down below. Definitely subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend, ask a friend. Sharing is caring. We appreciate you as always. Dante, do you have anything to shout out?
I'm here.
Dirty Water ENT, baby. Check them out. Um, until next time, everybody, we love you. Peace.
Peace. Ski ski.
For those with good taste.